Welcome to Compassionate Conversations, where we push the boundaries of comfort to empower you to become all that you dream of being. Do you find yourself putting everyone else first, even when it hurts you? That's not self-compassion. That's self-abandonment, and you deserve better. You're not alone. I used to be the queen of self-abandonment, but not anymore. I've also helped thousands of people quit the self-abandoning habit for good and make themselves their number one priority. Here's what you will learn in this video: what self-abandonment is and what it looks like in real life, the signs to watch out for that you have abandoned yourself, how we learn to abandon ourselves in the first place, the consequences of self-abandonment, and lastly, how we can stop abandoning ourselves for good and learn to show up for ourselves first. Make sure to watch the whole video because there is an extra bonus for you at the end. I will share something that I teach my clients, which helps them to put the spotlight back on themselves and to become more embodied. If you enjoy the content I provide, hit that like button, share this video with others who could benefit, and subscribe to this channel. What is self-abandonment? Self-abandonment is the act of consistently neglecting your own needs, emotions, boundaries, or truth in favor of external validation, approval, or to avoid conflict or discomfort. It often stems from early experiences where prioritizing others was necessary for safety or acceptance. Here's an example. I will make up a client. Let's call her Brenda. She has a friend named Sally who talks about herself all the time and never asks Brenda about herself. She tells Brenda all her problems and expects her to help her solve them. However, she never asks Brenda about her problems or offers support. Brenda has just had a bad review from her boss at work and really needs to talk to someone about it. But she's afraid that if she does this with Sally, that she will lose her friendship. She's afraid of making her angry as well as being judged as needy by Sally. When I explored Brenda's relationship with her mother, she told me that she was a very angry and dominating woman. Whenever Sally was upset and tried going to her mother for support, she was told that she was being selfish and that she didn't know what suffering really was. In other words, her mother was narcissistic, and Sally learned that the only way to win someone's affection or attention was to be the person they wanted her to be by suppressing her own needs. Sally also realized that by focusing on being someone to lean on, her mother didn't lash out in anger as much. Here are the signs of self-abandonment. You prioritize others' needs at the expense of your own. You ignore your emotions or label them as too much. You constantly seek external validation. You have difficulty setting or maintaining boundaries. You feel guilty when you take time for yourself. You override your intuition to avoid conflict or rejection. You struggle to know what you truly want or need. You might be wondering what the root causes are of self-abandonment. It often starts in childhood, especially in environments where your needs were minimized or ignored. You were praised for being selfless or compliant. Expressing emotion led to punishment or withdrawal. You ended up learning that it was safer to disconnect from yourself. What are the consequences of self-abandonment? Chronic anxiety or low-level depression, burnout and resentment, difficulty making decisions, shaky self-esteem and identity confusion, repeating unhealthy relationship dynamics. So the big question I'm sure you're asking yourself is, how do I stop abandoning myself? Here are some ways to do that. Practice self-awareness. Notice when you're disconnecting from your emotions or needs. Journal about daily decisions. Did they honor your truth? Validate your feelings. Give yourself permission to feel without judgment. Use phrases like, it's okay to feel this way. Reconnect with your needs. Ask yourself, what do I need right now? Start small. Practice naming and meeting one need a day. Set boundaries. Learn to say no without over-explaining. Trust that protecting your energy is not selfish. Watch this video for more tips on boundary setting. Here's the bottom line. Healing self-abandonment is a journey of relearning how to be there for yourself. It's not selfish, it's essential. You deserve to live as your full, expressed, and deeply supported self. Now, here's the bonus I was talking about. This is an embodiment exercise I do with my clients. Let me explain why I'm sharing this. The thing is, when we abandon ourselves, we are often dissociated and disconnected from our bodies. So this is an exercise that will help you to focus on yourself instead of others and to become more embodied. The next time you notice that you have abandoned yourself and are focusing on others exclusively, I invite you to take a pause and do the following. There are 3 levels that I want you to think about that are very important. One is our feelings, one is our sensations, and one are the thoughts. This is from a book that I love called Why We Meditate, and it's an absolutely wonderful book. And the Buddhist monk, he shares his practices, and he says to think of yourself as a house, that there's 3 levels in the house. And the first level, the foundation, the bottom level, are the sensations in the body. Then the second level are the feelings and emotions, the emotional feeling state. And the third level, the head, is our thoughts, the thinking mind. Just take 3 to 5 minutes to check in with the 3 levels of the house. So what sensations am I feeling in my body? What are the feelings and emotions that I'm having? And what are the thoughts that I'm having? Why don't I use the example that I gave earlier with Brenda and Sally? So if she had taken this time, say she was trying to help Sally, but then she came home and she just thought about, what do I need right now? How am I feeling? What's going on with me? She could sit down, take a few deep breaths, and check in with those 3 levels of the house. So she could check in and say, if she thinks about getting the bad review from her boss, that the sensations in her body are tightness in her chest. She might notice that her voice is a bit shaky and that she's clenching her fists. She's having the feeling of fear, and it's based on the thought, maybe I'm going to lose my job. What will I do? How will I make a living? As she sits with it, she notices that some of the feelings start to change, and she feels this great sadness all of a sudden. I encourage you not to try to figure it out. Don't go into the head to figure it out. Just be with the feelings and sensations as they are. Let them move through your body. And that's what they need to do. They're like waves in the ocean, feelings and sensations. They just come and they go, they rise and they fall. And if you don't make a big deal out of them, they'll just do their thing and move on. And then something else will replace it, hopefully some peace. So she started to feel grief. And then she had the thought, that was really hard to sit there and listen to that. And then she connected it to her mother, and she thought, oh, my mother used to do that. She was very hard on me. That triggered me when I was with my boss. And when I got that poor review, I felt like I was sitting with my mother and she was scolding me and judging me. And then the last part I encourage you to do is to put 1 or 2 hands over your heart. And if you watched any of my other videos, I do this a lot. Self-compassion. This covers the largest part of the vagus nerve, and it's responsible for our autonomic nervous system. So we either are in sympathetic state or parasympathetic. Sympathetic state is the fight or flight or freeze. When we're dissociated, we're often in a freeze mode. So we want to come out of that and come into the parasympathetic, which is rest and digest. And by doing this, by putting 1 or 2 hands over your heart, it literally calms the nervous system. So for the last part of it, just say to yourself, how can I be compassionate towards myself? What can I say to myself that makes me feel compassion and love and caring? So in this case, when Brenda thought about it, she said, I can have compassion for myself, that was really hard. What happened with my boss getting the bad review, that was really difficult. Being with Sally was really hard, and I felt unseen. I felt unheard. I felt like I didn't exist. I felt like I was with my mother, and there was no room for me. And the last part, what I would urge Brenda to do is to just marinate in that self-compassion, in that feeling of safety, love. And it often helps if you visualize someone who loved you unconditionally. Just feeling that person holding you with complete love, caring, and compassion, and just feeling warm and full up. And stop when you feel that you're good, that things have shifted. You'll know when that is. I would love to hear about your experience of this meditation, what you were struggling with, and how you worked with the 3 levels of the house, the sensations, the emotions and feelings, and the thoughts, and how you practice self-compassion towards yourself, and how that shifted things. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button and share it with others. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel to receive more videos on healing, self-abandonment, and much more.